Hi guys, in this video I'll discuss the concept of ideology from Marx to Althusser. How Marx gave this concept of ideology and how it differs, how it changed from Marx to neo-Marxist theories like Gramsci and Althusser later, and also much later of Althusser, Foucault changes this concept of ideology and he proposes his own concept of discourse, discarding this concept of ideology. So I'm not going to discuss here about Foucault but only from Marx to Althusser. So let's get started. First, this concept of ideology in Marx basically proposes this epistemological model of ideology. The Greek word episteme means knowledge, and epistemological model means that it has to do with the knowing of what is ideology. Okay, Marx basically theorizes that ideology is an abstract veil, that looms large over the proletariat class, and they cannot see through their own class interest, rather they see through interest of the bourgeois class. Okay, they see the reality, they view the reality through the interest of the dominant class, the bourgeois class, not through their own class, and this is the main thing. So Marx basically was concerned with this concept of ideology, that ideology acts as a veil. So basically it means that it actually exists in a vacuum. It's a more abstract concept of ideology. Okay, and there is also other aspect like illusory aspect of ideology. It means that ideology actually misrepresents the interest of the working class. Okay, so it has no role to play in the economic or revolutionary mechanism, okay, of the society. It actually hides the reality from working class and misrepresent the ideas of the dominant class. Okay, and this misrepresentation happens because of the consequence of the alienated labor and mode of production. Okay, Marx's notion of ideology is more kind of coercion or domination, or there is a force that acts behind this perpetuation of this ideology. Okay, this act of perpetuation of ideology by the dominant class, here the force, the power actually backs up this act of legitimizing, and Gramsci notices this thing and he changes this concept later. But here this illusory aspect that it actually misrepresent the class interest of the working class, and there is also class reductionist aspect of Marx's notion of ideology, that is that there is this an ideology of working class and there is an ideology of the bourgeois class. So there is this to struggle between these two ideological these two ideology. But the dominant class, just because they have this force or power, they actually perpetuate their ideology over this working class people. So in order for revolution to happen, so what the working class people need to do is to unveil this ideological veil that is perpetuated by this dominant class. And in this regard, as Marx argues that the Lenin party will act as a vanguard to make this happen. Okay, so the party, Lenin party, will come and they will understand the working class people that this is the thing. So they are in this false consciousness. So the Marxist notion of ideology is that ideology actually creates a false consciousness, not the class consciousness. And in order to remove this ideological veil, to unveil this ideological veil, first what they need to have is to have the class consciousness. So if the moment they will start having this class consciousness, this false consciousness that they have been remaining until now, it will be removed then. And for that it won't be possible by the working class people. So for that they need to have help of a party, okay, a political party, and in this regard the communist party will come forward and they will help the working class people understand their position, that they are in false consciousness. Okay, these three aspects, that ideology is basically has to do with the knowing that you are in a false ideological space, that is the ideology of the dominant class. So you are not having your own ideology, you are not viewing the world through your own ideology. So Marx basically argues that for a revolution to happen, you need to have your own ideology through which you can see your world, through which you can understand your class interest. Okay, and because of this dominant ideology, the problem is that class consciousness will happen when you will understand your problem with regard to other people. Okay, so when you start understanding that the kind of situation you are in, so it's not like your position, you have your other people, your other fellow people who are in the same position. So in that way you will start having your class consciousness at large. So class consciousness will happen in a broad way, and it is that dominant class ideology that prevents you from having that, and Marx actually points that out. He argues that you need to unveil that. So it's more basically has to do with knowing, it has to do with understanding an abstract concept. Okay, and this illusory aspect, as I told, is that it's just this misrepresentation of the ideas of the dominant class. Okay, so dominant class, they present their ideas in a way, in the working class people understand that it is their way, it is a legitimized way. They actually misrepresent, and also they misrepresent the class interest of the working class people. So in illusory aspect, two things happen. One is this misrepresentation of the bourgeois class ideas as being the idea of the working class people. So working class people think that the ideas they are viewing through the world, so actually the ideas of their own, but in reality it's not. The bourgeois class people, they also misrepresent the interest of the working class people. Okay, and class reductionist, basically these two dichotomy of the ideological space. One is this bourgeois class ideology, and this other is the working class people's ideology. Okay, now later the neo-Marxist Gramsci, he kind of changes these functions of ideology of Marx, that the concept of ideology that Marx gave. He basically was concerned with the fact that how ideology functions, and as Marx told that if it's the way ideology functions, then why didn't revolution happen in European countries, in the developed capitalist countries in Europe and America, basically in Europe, unlike Russian. So Russia was half feudal and half capitalist country. It was not that much developed. It was still a feudal society at large. So in Russia it was very easy to happen, but in much developed country it didn't happen. And from there it actually made Gramsci to think as to how ideology functions, especially with regard to the Marxian concept of ideology. He actually problematizes this class reductionist aspect of Marxian concept of ideology. He thinks that there may be this kind of ideology. One is that working class people's ideology, and the other is bourgeois class ideology, but there is this still an aspect of coercion or force that acts behind the perpetuation of the bourgeois class ideology, as Marx argues. But Gramsci says that it's not the coercion, it's not that the force that acts, it's actually the hegemony, the famous concept he came up with, through which actually these functions, and through which the dominant class actually sustains, their ideology actually sustains. So it's not the force. Okay, so he actually nullifies this class reductionist aspect of ideology as Marx gave, and he says that ideology functions through hegemony. Okay, and hegemony basically is this act of legitimizing the values or the attitudes of the dominant class people, and working class people takes that as a legitimate view, as a legitimate way of thinking. And Gramsci also proposes a solution to this hegemony, to this hegemonized rule of the dominant class ideas or dominant class people's interest. And for that he proposes this formation of historic bloc, and also this counter hegemony to that of ruling class people. Okay, this is the main concept of Gramsci as opposed to Marx. And Gramsci actually didn't propose any new concept of ideology. He actually just modifies how ideology functions with regard to Marxian concept of ideology. Okay, now we'll move to this Althusser concept of ideology. Now Althusser actually vehemently opposed to the concept of Marxian ideology, and he proposed a structural model of ideology, and he came up with this concept of his own ideology much later from Marx. And then already there was this psychoanalysis of Lacan. Okay, so Lacan proposes his own interpretation of psychoanalysis. He actually mix up his concept of ideology with Lacanian perspective. Okay, first, he gives three aspects of ideology as opposed to Marx. First is that ideology is historical. So, in opposition, he argues that ideology is historical and fully material, insofar as people must enact or perform a set of practices. Althusser argues that ideology has evolved throughout the history of civilization, human civilization, and it's a product of the time period, and it changes and adapts to the time period it finds itself in. Okay, there is a historical aspect to ideology. The second main important thing that is extremely opposite of Marxian concept of ideology, that is the ideology is material. Marx proposed that ideology is abstract, but Althusser argues that ideology is material. So what does it mean when he says the ideology is material? It means that there is a notion or a concept or an ideology, okay, and any ideology, it has its own rituals. When you perform it, when you enact that rituals of that ideology, it means that it has its own, I mean, this ideology, this particular ideology has its own material existence. For example, there is this concept of Bong. We say that we are Bong, it means that we are Bengali, and there are lots of ideological. So we say we are Xaverian, okay, it means that we have studied from Saint Xavier's college or school. So this kind of concept, little concept, we say that we are this, we are that. It means that we are Bong means that we speak Bengali, and habitually we live in a cocooned space with our own family. We like to eat fish and rice, and these typical ascriptions or these stereotypical ascriptions that we have, it actually makes us what we call a Bengali or a Bong. So it means that there is this concept of Bong, and the rituals we perform for this concept of being born, it means that this idea of Bong, this idea of being Bengali, it has its material existence. Okay, so it could be anything. If you take any example, so being an Indian, there is this concept of Indian, and what we do being an Indian is actually its materiality. This ideology is materiality, so it could be any religious thing also. Okay, so being a Christian or being a Hindu, being a Buddhist, when a person or a Buddhist person performs its rituals, it means that this ideology, it has its own materiality. So this is the main concept. So we inhabit ideology, we are born in an ideology, we perform ideology, so we are in ideology. Ideology actually precedes you. Okay, so you are born into the ideology, so you cannot escape from ideology. So there is no non-ideological space as such. So as a conscious subject, what we can do is to shift from one ideological space to another ideological space. Okay, so this is what we can do, but in no way can we escape from ideology. So he also gives this two concept of, one is the subject and one is this individual, and ideology is what recruits, what makes a person a subject from being an individual. Okay, here one aspect you must understand, as opposed to Marxian concept of ideology, is that materiality, that ideology has its materiality, when it is material, in the sense that we perform or enact a set of practices that show that what ideology they espouse or belong to. Okay, so if I say I'm communist, it means that I must perform certain ideology, certain practices that will make me label as a communist. So why other people will call me a communist? Based on certain ideological practices that I do. Okay, so and the other thing is the eternal. So here he brings up the concept of Lacanian perspective of symbolic order of language. So in psychoanalysis, Jacques Lacan, he proposes three concepts. One is this real, symbolic, and the imaginary. Okay, so in symbolic order of language, when we enter the symbolic order of language, we cannot escape from this symbolic order of language. So whatever we do, we actually think through language particularly. So there is this inescapability of language once we are in language. Okay, so from that concept, as we are retroactively a subject, we are always already in ideology. No matter what you do, what you perform, where you go, we are always already in ideology. This is what Althusser argues, and ideology is language. Okay, so like language, you cannot escape from language once you are into this symbolic order of language. Okay, from childhood to language, we entered bit by bit to the symbolic order of language. Okay, as ideology always already precedes you, so it's eternal like language. Okay, so this is what he argues, that like Freud's unconscious. So Freud also argues that unconscious is structured like language, and language also eternal, so unconscious is eternal. So which means the ideology is omnipresent, trans-historical, therefore immutable in form throughout the extent of history. So this is just a concept, but if you just understand this material existence of ideology, it's enough for you to understand this Althusser. So this eternal aspect of it's more kind of linked with this psychoanalysis, but if you find it very difficult, you can leave it. So this is what kind of Althusser revolutionizes this concept of ideology from Marx via Gramsci. Okay, and later when Foucault came, he actually discarded this concept of ideology. He proposed his own concept of discourse, and there is a lots of difference from ideology and discourse. So maybe in the next video I'll try to discuss how discourse differs from ideology. Okay, so guys, I hope I've been able to analyze this concept of ideology, and if you have any concept you can ask me in the comment section below, and there are lots of reading on it, so you can read on that. So I have tried to understand in a simplified language based upon my understanding. Okay, so it's the absolute understanding of ideology. So there are lots of readings, you can have your own argument to it and your own interpretation on it, so you can do that, and you can ask me if you have any question or doubt regarding to what I have just explained. I'll try to make it more clear based upon my ability. So thank you guys for watching this video.